Welcome back, warriors. This is your refuge from the noise, your battleground for inner strength where we choose discipline, clarity, and fire. There's a moment in life that doesn't make a sound, but it cuts the deepest. It doesn't announce its arrival. It doesn't break the door down. It slips in quietly, almost politely. It waits, and then it hits you. When the laughter fades, when the room clears out, when your phone stays silent for hours, and you finally realize you're not seen, you're used, you're tolerated, you're convenient. And in that silence, the weight settles on your chest like concrete. That right there is the real battlefield of life. Not the one people post about with flashy edits or fake smiles, but the one inside, the one no one claps for. You know the feeling. You've lived it. You were the one they called at 2:00 a.m. when their world was falling apart. But somehow they forgot your name when their skis cleared. You were the one who showed up, who held space, who gave when you had nothing left in your tank, just fumes and faith. And when your own knees buckled, no one noticed. No one stayed. You picked yourself up, dusted off the pain, and pretended you were fine. That's not weakness. That's not foolishness. That's strength most people don't even understand. See, we glorify resilience, but we never talk about how damn lonely it is, how brutal it feels to keep giving when your own soul is running on empty. We say, stay strong. But who's there when you finally break? Who catches you when you fall? Let me tell you something real. This is where true mental toughness is born. Not in a morning routine, not in cold showers or a gym selfie, but in the silence of your apartment when no one checks in the smile you force at work even though you were crying behind the wheel 10 minutes ago, in the 100 times you swallowed your pain just so you wouldn't burden someone else. That's the arena. That's the fire that forges something unshakable inside you. Marcus Aurelius lived that fire. People love to quote him now, but few understand the weight he carried. He was emperor of Rome, sure, but he was also a grieving father, a man drowning in responsibility, a soul fighting his own shadows. He wrote meditations not to impress the world, but to survive it. Every page he wrote was a lifeline, a reminder to himself not to lose grip, not to give in, not to disappear under the pressure. Marcus wasn't trying to be a philosopher. He was trying to stay sane. And maybe you've never ruled an empire, but if you've ever loved someone who walked away, if you've ever held your own pieces together in the dark, if you've ever woken up and had to rebuild your will to live from the ground up, then you've already lived Stoicism deeper than most ever will. This video isn't about lofty ideals or distant ancient wisdom. This is about your life, your scars, your silent battles. These Stoic principles aren't just ideas. They're tattoos burned into your skin. They're lessons you learned the hard way. You don't need a scroll to tell you how to endure. You've already done it every time you kept going, every time you didn't let the bitterness take over, every time you loved again after betrayal, stood back up after being knocked down, or trusted life when it gave you nothing but storms. You embodied Stoicism. But here's the thing. Most of us never give ourselves credit. We bury the pain, call it normal, and move on. We downplay our own resilience because no one was there to witness it. But you need to know what you survived would have broken someone else. You didn't just make it through. You built yourself through it. So stay with me. Don't just watch this video, feel every word like it was written for you, because it was. We're going to dive deep into 6 raw, unfiltered Stoic principles, not from the polished lens of a textbook, but from the dirt, the fire, the raw moments life throws at us when we least expect it. These principles aren't meant to sound wise. They're meant to wake you up. They'll shake you. They'll sting, but they'll also heal something inside of you that's been bleeding for too long. By the end of this, you won't just understand Stoicism. You'll own it. You'll look back on your life and realize you weren't weak, you weren't broken. You were being built, layer by layer, scar by scar. So I need you to do something bold. Comment this below. I was built through what I survived. Let the world know you're not ashamed of your past. You're defined by the strength it gave you. And before we dive in, like this video, share it with someone walking through their own personal fire, and subscribe to this channel. But don't skip a second, because the exact line that might save your mindset, that might pull you out of the pit, could be the one you almost ignored. Let's dig into this together. And this time, let's not just survive, let's transform. Now, let's dive in. Number 1, control what you can, then let go. You ever find yourself waking up with that same weight pressing on your chest day after day? Still hopping for a text that won't come, still rereading old messages looking for clues you missed, still stuck in a loop, praying that maybe, just maybe, things will go back to how they used to be. You try to piece it all back together. You tell yourself if you just try harder, love deeper, hold tighter, it'll all make sense again. But deep down, you know it's already over, and that's where the pain starts to carve itself into your bones. You gave everything to someone or something that couldn't carry the weight with you. You fought for a love that didn't fight back. You poured energy into a job, a dream, a friendship, only to watch it slip through your fingers like sand. That feeling, it's brutal. It makes you question your worth. It makes you think, if I was just a little better, maybe they'd stay. Maybe this wouldn't hurt so bad. But Marcus Aurelius said something that shakes you awake. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. It hits hard, doesn't it? Because the truth is, you're not in control of the storm, but you're still the captain of your ship. And that moment you stop trying to steer the wind and start steering your own damn soul, that's when the game changes. You've cried in rooms full of people who never noticed. You've smiled through your lowest days because you didn't want to burden anyone. That kind of pain doesn't make you weak. It chisels you into someone unstoppable if you let it. Let me ask you this. How many times did you rehearse a conversation that never happened? How many nights did you beg your heart to shut up while your mind tried to play peacemaker? You thought letting go meant losing. But sometimes, letting go is the only way to win. You're gripping a rope tied to something long dead, burning your hands in silence, scared to drop it because you don't know who you are without it. But here's the shift. You're not meant to fix everything. You're meant to face it and free yourself. You can't force love to stay where it doesn't want to grow. You can't beg someone to treat you right if they don't see your worth. You can't rewind time to change the past, but you can rewrite the meaning of it. You can stare into the ashes of what's gone and say, that chapter broke me, but it built me too. You can stop chasing ghosts and start chasing peace. Your peace. Control isn't about power over others. It's about power over yourself, your thoughts, your choices, your energy, your boundaries. That's your battleground. That's your arena. And every time you let go of what doesn't serve you, you win. So stop tying your worth to what's already walked out. Stop losing sleep over people who sleep just fine without you. Release the grip. Let the fire die and walk out of the smoke with your head up and your soul clean. You weren't born to beg. You were born to rise. If this hit home, type this in the comments like you mean it. I only hold what strengthens me. Number 2, use pain as a forge, not a curse. Pain isn't just here to make you suffer. It's here to wake you up. It's not a punishment. It's a transformation. The world keeps telling you that pain is something to avoid, numb, escape. But the truth is, pain is the birthplace of every version of you that learned how to stop bleeding and start fighting. It carves away your weakness, burns through your illusions, and forces you to see yourself for who you really are beneath the layers of comfort and lies. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That wasn't just philosophy, it was forged in real hell. The man buried his children, fought wars, lost friends to death and betrayal, and ruled an empire while grief whispered in his ear. He didn't write from a throne. He wrote from the trenches of the human heart. And still, he stood because he didn't run from pain. He used it. Now look at yourself. How many times did your life fall apart only for you to rise stronger on the other side? That heartbreak that almost destroyed you, it taught you how to stop settling for half-hearted love. That job you lost, it showed you that your worth isn't measured by a paycheck. That anxiety that crippled you at night, it forced you to master your mind like a weapon. But in the moment, it felt like death, didn't it? Like everything was caving in. That's the trick. Pain doesn't show you the new door. It rips the old one off the hinges. Mental toughness isn't about keeping a fake smile plastered on your face. It's not about pretending you're okay when you're not. It's about standing inside the fire with your fists clenched and your soul screaming and refusing to fall. Pain strips you of the softness that kept you stuck. It kills the version of you that tolerated disrespect, betrayal, mediocrity, and in its place, it plants something unbreakable, something dangerous. Not dangerous to others, but to your excuses, to your old patterns, to your limitations. Picture this: you are steel in the forge. Every betrayal a hammer that hits hard. Every loss another flame that tests your core. And every moment you wanted to give up but didn't, that's when you were sharpened. You weren't falling apart. You were being reforged. You were becoming the kind of person who doesn't flinch in chaos, doesn't break under pressure, and doesn't beg for mercy. You face the storm, look it in the eye, and say, I was born for this. And those scars you've tried to hide, let them show. Those aren't weaknesses. They're proof that you've been through the kind of fire that would have melted most people, proof that you didn't walk through hell just to come out the same. You came out carved, hardened, and bulletproof. That's the point of the pain. It's not to ruin you, it's to reveal you. So stop cursing the pain. Start claiming it. Start wearing it like armor. Stop burying your broken pieces. Start building with them. Because when pain stops being your prison, it becomes your power. If you've crawled through the fire and refused to quit, comment this with your chest. My pain shaped the weapon I am. Number 3, guard your inner fortress. You don't owe your peace to anyone. Let that sink in. You don't owe explanations. You don't owe access. And if someone tries to chip away at your calm, tries to make you feel guilty for pulling back, they were never rooting for your peace in the first place. They were feeding off your chaos. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." That's not poetry. That's war strategy. That's a warning. If your thoughts are the fabric of your soul, then your mind is a battlefield. And you better guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Think about the times you've let someone close enough to influence your thoughts, twist your emotions, and shake your reality. A fake friend who wore a kind face but left your mind spinning. A partner who made love feel like walking on glass, beautiful one moment, bloody the next. Or maybe it was that one situation that looked golden from a distance but turned out to be rusted, pain wrapped in pretty lies. They didn't scream. They didn't punch. They used silence as a weapon. They used inconsistency like poison, drip by drip. And you didn't even see the damage until your inner world was burning. This is why Stoicism doesn't just whisper, it roars. Guard your inner world. Protect it like a fortress under siege. Because when everything else falls apart, your job, your health, your relationships, if your mind is still standing, you win. You can lose anything and still recover if you haven't lost yourself. But most people, they leave their minds wide open, scroll through garbage, absorb everyone else's drama, say yes when their soul is screaming no. They let strangers on a screen shape how they feel, think, and live. They confuse being available with being valuable, and they wonder why they're exhausted, empty, off track. It's not depression, it's invasion. It's the result of mental doors being left unguarded for too long. You need to become the gatekeeper of your energy, your time, your peace. Not everyone gets in. Not everyone earns the right to sit at your table. Stop treating loyalty like self-sacrifice. You weren't put here to bleed for people who wouldn't even hand you a bandage. Start pulling back, not because you're bitter, but because you finally get it. Your peace isn't selfish. It's sacred. It's not a weakness to go quiet. It's a sign that you've outgrown the noise. Your mind is a temple, your thoughts the architects of your reality. You don't let anyone walk in with muddy boots. So let the wrong people call you cold. Let them misunderstand your silence. That's not your problem. You're not here to explain your growth to people still addicted to chaos. You're here to build a life that feels like freedom, not survival. Let them say, you've changed. Because if guarding your peace looks like distance, solitude, or silence, so be it. That's not isolation. That's transformation. Number 4, practice voluntary discomfort. We were raised to dodge discomfort, to run from pain, to chase comfort like it's the final prize in life. But Stoicism doesn't hand you a pillow. It hands you a blade and tells you to sharpen your soul, not because pain is glorious, but because real growth has never been birthed in luxury. It's born in the fire, in the cold, in the days when your body screams and your mind begs you to stop, and you keep going. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for life to break him. He chose the hard road. He stripped away the fluff of royalty and trained himself like a soldier. Why? Because when life finally hit, he didn't flinch. He'd already been forged in self-inflicted storms. That's the lesson most people miss. You don't train because you're weak. You train so the world doesn't get the chance to decide when you break. He wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke. That's not just wisdom, that's a psychological sledgehammer. Most of your suffering isn't from life, it's from how you see it. Your interpretation is the real cage, and Stoicism hands you the key. So start small. Wake up earlier than comfort would like. Push your body past the breaking point and see what lives on the other side of exhaustion. Eat less than you want and learn that hunger won't kill you, but gluttony will. Take cold showers not because you're chasing trends, but because you need to feel something real. A sting, a shiver, a signal that you're alive and in control. Walk straight into rejection. Let it punch you in the face and don't flinch. The world won't hand you resilience. You build it. Discomfort isn't your enemy. Weakness is. And comfort feeds it like sugar feeds disease. Comfort kills drive. It dulls your edge. It wraps chains around ambition and calls it peace. But peace without strength is fragility. And that's not your destiny. Think of the warrior. He doesn't wait for the enemy to arrive. He trains during the quiet. He sharpens the blade during peace, not because war is here, but because it's always coming. The hard truth, if you're not battle-tested, you'll break at the first hit. Life won't give you a warning. It'll crash through the door and demand answers. You either collapse or rise, and rising requires training. Voluntary discomfort is your armor. It's the mental steel that turns "I can't" into "I already did worse than this yesterday." It's skipping meals to understand self-control. It's choosing solitude to see who you really are when the noise stops. It's saying no when everyone expects a yes. It's walking the lonely road while others dance in the crowd. It's not about being extreme. It's about being ready. Because when your world falls apart, and someday it will, comfort won't save you. But the pain you trained with, the hardship you invited, that's what carries you. Number 5, face mortality, live with urgency. You are dying slowly, quietly. And whether you like it or not, every breath you take steals one from your future. Most men walk through life like it's a rehearsal, like there's a backstage pass, like they can snooze on purpose, and somehow wake up fulfilled, Chinese letter. System fulfilled, but time doesn't wait, it doesn't bargain, it doesn't care if you're not ready. It slips through your fingers while you scroll, while you overthink, while you stall. Marcus Aurelius didn't sugarcoat reality. He said, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. He didn't write that as a poet. He wrote it as a man staring death in the face and daring himself to live before it showed up. That's not just a quote. That's a punch to the soul, a wake-up call with no snooze button. You think you'll cut ties with toxic people when the timing feels right. You think you'll chase that dream when everything lines up like some cosmic green light. That you'll heal, grow, move on someday. Let me rip that delusion apart. There is no someday. There is no perfect time. There's just now, and even that's slipping away while you hesitate. How many mornings are you going to wake up with regret choking your chest? How many years will you spend watching other people chase what you know lives inside you? You say fear is stopping you, but it's not fear. It's comfort. It's that velvet prison of routine. It's that voice whispering, later. But later is the enemy. It's the greatest thief of all. You think you've got time. Then visit a hospital. Walk through the oncology ward. Look a dying man in the eye and tell him you're waiting until you're ready. He'd give anything for another morning, another chance to start. Meanwhile, you've got today and you treat it like trash. You scroll it away, you sleep it off. You numb yourself and call it peace. This life isn't a dress rehearsal. You won't get a second act. You won't get to beg time for a redo, so make it count. Every second you hesitate, death steps in. Every time you hold back your truth, stay in a dead relationship, let your dream rot in the corner, you are letting go of the only life you have. The man who remembers death lives differently. He moves fast. He speaks bold. He loves without armor. He creates without waiting for applause. He doesn't care what others think because he knows they're dying too. He knows this moment is all he's got and he squeezes the life out of it. So if you've been sleeping on your potential, if you're mourning the man you could have been, then listen closely. You can still become him, but only if you kill the delay, only if you stop making comfort your God and start honoring urgency like your life depends on it. Because it does. If you've ever felt time slip through your fingers and swore it would never happen again, drop your vow in the fire. I live like I'm dying because I am. Number 6, turn every setback into a test. They left, you shattered, everything you built crumbled, the people you trusted vanished, and for a moment you thought that was it. The credits rolled, the story ended, but it didn't. It wasn't the end, it was the beginning of the real test. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He didn't mean it metaphorically. He meant the heartbreak, the failure, the betrayal that is the path. That's not life breaking you, that's life shaping you. When the business failed, when the girl ghosted, when your mental health cracked under pressure, you didn't just suffer, you got stripped. The masks came off. The comfort peeled away. All that remained was the real you, and that was the mirror. Maybe you asked, why me? Maybe you cursed the sky, the silence, the people who left without looking back. But Stoicism doesn't comfort you with pity. It hits you with clarity. It flips the script and says, why not you? You asked for strength, but did you think strength shows up like a blessing? Strength isn't some warm light that lands in your lap. It arrives disguised as fire, as chaos, as agony. And while most people break under that pressure, you rebuild inside it. You were never being punished. You were being prepared, sharpened, refined. That storm didn't come to destroy you. It came to reveal the parts of you that can't be broken, the real steel buried underneath the doubt and the comfort. Every betrayal, that was the universe showing you who's fake. Every heartbreak, a reminder that your worth isn't up for debate. Every moment on your knees, a silent whisper from life itself. Get up different, get up stronger, get up and become who you were meant to be. The test was never about pain. It was always about your response. That's where your power lives, in your reaction, in your refusal to stay small, in the decision to stand up, even when standing feels like war. Look around you. Every legend you admire, he broke first. He bled, he doubted. He crawled through hell before he ever walked into glory. The fearless ones, they weren't born bold. They were forged by trials. The difference is they didn't tap out when the heat came. They rose in it. So the next time life knocks the wind out of your chest, don't collapse. Don't drown in self-pity. Don't hand over your power. Stand up, clench your fists, and say this: this is my test. This is my storm. And I'm not just here to survive it, I'm here to win through it. You were built for more than comfort. You were built to conquer. Let the world throw what it wants because you've stopped breaking. Now you transform. You've made it through all 6 Stoic truths, and now it's your move. These aren't just ancient words carved into history books. These are battle-tested survival codes. They weren't written for scholars in robes. They were forged in the fire by men who bled, who lost, who got back up when life tried to bury them alive. So the real question isn't, did you listen? It's, will you live it? Will you let these truths punch through your numbness? Will you let them break the chains of your old habits, your doubts, your delays? Because you can't keep sleepwalking through life pretending you've got forever. You don't. The clock's ticking, the storm is coming, and you either rise or you rot. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire during a plague, war, and betrayal and stayed grounded. So don't tell me you can't handle your job, your breakup, or your anxiety. You've got fire in your chest. Use it. Like, comment, send this to someone who's drifting, wasting, waiting. Subscribe, because this isn't entertainment. It's warrior training. And you're done surviving. You're here to dominate. Don't wait for a sign. Be the sign. Don't tiptoe into your future. Kick the door down. Let's rise right now.